64,000 students in America have blindness, and so it's our responsibility as educators to be able to best adapt our class for any visual impairment. Let's go on a tour and learn about how to best adapt our class. Hi, this is Miss Behrens' math class, and today we're going to learn how to count money. First we have the coins, and we're going to start with the penny, and the penny is worth 1 cent, and it is different from the dime because the dime is worth 10 cents and the penny has smooth edges, whereas the dime has roughed edges. Next, we're going to move on to the nickel. The nickel is different from the dime because the nickel is worth 5 cents, and the nickel also has smooth edges but is bigger than the penny. Next, we have the quarter, and the quarter is worth 25 cents, and it also, like the dime, has rigid edges, but the quarter is bigger than the dime. Okay, so those are the coins. Next, we have money. We have a dollar, which is worth $1. And to compare all of these, we're going to have the dollar be straight. So in a pile, you're going to know all the straight ones, no folding, is a dollar. Next, we have the $5, and what you're going to do to know how $5 is counted is fold it in half. So if you have a money in half folded, like a hamburger, it is going to be a $5. Next, we have $10, which you're going to fold hot dog ways. So then, those who can't visually see it are going to see that it's a $10. And last, we have the $20 bill, which is worth $20. And to tell it's $20, you're going to fold it in half and then half again. And those are different ways to tell the difference between counting money.
So today in Miss Phillippe's class, we are going to do some arts and crafts. I expect you guys to go and sort them from smallest to biggest, and then take the shapes and do all the squares together, all the rectangles, all the circles, and all the triangles, separate them, and then take the wiggly eyes and separate them from smallest to biggest. And then after you do that, go and start gluing them on your paper from smallest to biggest, and then with the shapes, do one of the shapes, like the triangle first, then move on to the squares, then move on to the circles.
Welcome to Mr. Bird's class. This is a study skills class about teaching note-taking for students who are visually impaired or blind. Some of the new apps on the computers can help students. Here's some different techniques teachers could utilize to teach their students. Snap and read. Snap and read is basically highlighting, and the computer reads it to you. You can highlight any words on the paper, on the computer, and it'll read it to you. A scribe is a note-taking person who sits next to the student who's visually impaired or blind, or anybody for that matter, and takes notes for them. If your school cannot afford a scribe, there's different apps like Voice Note. You can talk in your computer to make the notes, and you can have raised line paper to take your notes by yourself. This is how you use your raised line paper. Put your hand right here and follow the lines as you write. The next thing is a talking pen. It's a recording pen. You can talk and write at the same time, and it'll speak what's on the paper as you trace your words on your sheet. And the last thing is, every textbook that a school purchases has an audiobook for free on the website, and the students can use this audiobook at home to use their homework.
Hello, welcome to Ms. Johnson's physical education class, and today I'll be talking about how to adapt the class for visually impaired or blind students. And there's a lot of different ways to adapt the class, but here are some of a few ways to help. So the first one is making sure that the students know their boundaries. So using a tactile board where they can feel the layout of the gym. So if you're going to be playing volleyball, making sure they know where those lines are at, using cones so they can see visually if they are visually impaired. Or if you're on a soccer field, knowing where the players are at so they can touch and feel. Another thing is showing the students on how to do the exercise or the activity. If they need to be able to throw a ball, physically showing them, like having their arm on yours and showing how to do the movement, because they aren't able to necessarily see it. And then also having a buddy, so a guide, pairing them up with a student, allowing them for more social interaction and being able to tag along because they aren't necessarily able to see. There's a couple different games that I found that I think my students would enjoy. So the first one is beep ball.
The game is called beep baseball. All players, with the exception of the pitcher who is not visually impaired, wear blindfolds so those with partial vision don't have an advantage.
You always throw it underhand and you don't throw it overhand like you would a baseball.
There are 6 defenders and only 2 bases. If the batter gets to the base, a padded cylinder that buzzes before the ball is fielded, that's a run. And unlike conventional baseball, batters try to hit pop-ups.
You don't want to do any ground balls because those are going to get scooped up pretty quick.
Sure, the game is a bit different, but if you ask the players, they...
Another one is under the net volleyball. So the net would be lower, and you can also put a sheet over the net so then students are all at a similar advantage. And so the ball has bells in it once again, and they roll the ball underneath, and it works with the core movement, and it also, so the students that are blind, they can reach for it by hearing it. And if it gets past them, then that's a point for the other team. The last one that I found was just a simple running exercise. So if a student was trying to run, you could get them with a buddy. Make sure their buddy is faster than them, but they can use, the professionals use like a thing only like the size of this, but they can start off with like a shoelace, and it acts as a guide for them to pull around maybe the track or a soccer field. Another way is to just have like 2 poles and then a string across it, and you have like a ring around it to let them do sprints. So for the main part of physical education, making sure that your students know their surroundings and know what is expected of them, that would be the most important part.
All right, so I have worked with many visually impaired students on anywhere from studying for history tests to writing papers, and it has been a wonderful experience, but I have noticed that there needs to be some serious inclinations and advancements in the classroom, and there needs to be good communication between the professors or teachers and the student. A couple things that I noticed is lighting in the classroom needs to be good. A lot of these students can see silhouettes if an appropriate amount of light is there. Another thing is that you need to have consistency within the classroom, and if you move something or something has changed, please notify that student. I think that's really important. And also have ways or situations in which there's no clutter between the desks or like around the teacher's desks, so that student knows that they're not going to run into anything. And just the baseline to communicate with visually impaired students is communication. They need to communicate with you. You need to have some knowledge over their kind of their devices that they use, like Braille Sense, and kind of learn about them. And don't define them as blind, but just know them on a personal level.
Thank you for taking your tour on our school today and learning the best way to adapt a classroom for those who are visually impaired or blind. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.